Join now. How about this? Surprise guest. Fritzy does it again. Commissioner Roger Goodell live from Chicago. Commissioner Goodell, it's Ross Tucker filling in for Dan today. First thing I got to ask you, how are your ribs after that bear hug from Danny Shelton last night?
Yeah, it was a little surprise. It was fun though. I enjoyed it. He got me, sort of surprised me on the second wave, took me up, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
I'm curious, when you get into the draft like this, how much prep do you do? Because there's some guys' names, Roger, like the guy from UCLA, the edge rusher from Washington. I've been practicing for 4 months. I still can't say those guys' names.
Well, I always tease Gary Bettman, and I'm glad I don't have some of the guys he has from Eastern Europe. You know, they're harder. So, but they, you know, it's just something you practice a little bit. You make sure you have the right, and you try to do the best you can because it's an important day for them, as you point out. This is their dream come true.
What about the Chicago? I know it's only one night in, but what are the early returns telling you about moving the draft on the road and whether or not that's something that might happen again in the future?
Well, we had the early returns are outstanding. The fans seem to love it. We had over 55,000 at the draft in some fashion last night between sort of the three sites we have there. They seem to have a wonderful time. The ratings seem to be, early indications are the second highest ever for the first round. So I think it worked very well. I think we had a great night. Chicago's done a fantastic job. And we'll look at, once we get completed with this draft, we'll look at what we did well, what we didn't do well, what we think we can improve, and then we'll go from there.
Do you expect to be somewhere other than New York again next year?
Oh, yeah. We haven't obligated ourselves to New York or Chicago or any other city. I think we had last year when we opened it up, we had a great deal of interest from well over a dozen cities, and we're going to look at that, and we'll make a determination of whether what our next step is, whether we're here or whether we're in any other city.
Do you think there's any chance that some of the top guys didn't go because it was in Chicago, or do you think that they would have made that choice no matter where it was?
No, I think their choice was very personal and trying to be with family and friends. I think you saw from the draft coverage last night that they both, were with a large group, and we respect that. We've had that in the past, and that's something that if that's important to them, we understand. We try to make this a great experience for them and something that they'll always remember. And the guys over here say that. They always say, I wouldn't have missed this. This was a great experience. And they bring their family here. It's not, we don't try to disconnect them. We love to have their family come along with them.
It's interesting, Commissioner Goodell, because one of the stories is what's going on with Lyle Collins, the LSU offensive lineman. I know there were reports yesterday that he was trying to get into the supplemental draft. This seems like such a unique situation. How's the league handling it at this point?
Well, the integrity of the draft process is the most important thing. We want to make sure that the rules are the same for all teams, all players, and those are a structure that's been established through negotiations with our union and the collective bargaining agreement. And it's just important for us to make sure that we don't set precedents that are difficult for us to deal with going forward. It's not unusual for us to have people's status change at any given point in time. Obviously, there are serious issues here, tragic loss of life. While Lyle is not a person here that's under suspicion, but he's a person of interest. He's got to cooperate with the authorities, and he's doing that. That's his priority right now, and that's the right thing to do.
Last thing, Roger, really appreciate the time. I think I read or saw someone say somewhere that the Ted Wells report would be out pretty soon. Is that accurate, or is there still no timeline for that?
Well, there is no timeline, but he's done the investigation portion of it and in the process of writing the report. So I suspect that it will be relatively soon. I don't know when that will be. When he's completed the report, he'll deliver it to me, and then we'll release it publicly.
Awesome. We'll really appreciate the time. Thanks so much, Roger.
Great to be with you, Ross. Take care.
All right. There he is, Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL.